Well, good morning, friends. Or maybe it's afternoon, actually. I thank you for joining me today for this live video. I'm often perplexed and intrigued when I hear someone say that the faith is or Christianity is all about following rules and being a good person. Now, I'm not saying that Christians shouldn't follow rules and be good people, but I am saying this. I don't think that that is the root of following Christ or having faith or being a Christian. A week or so ago, I was reading a book by Milford Banks Winecoop, and she made this statement, and it kind of jumped off the page at me. And to be honest with you, I've been kind of captivated by it since. And here's the phrase that she used. She said, faith, or being a Christian or following Christ, faith is intercourse with God. What? Faith is intercourse with God. And as I pondered that statement, it suddenly struck me that that phrase or that line of thought is not original to Mildred Winecoop. Matter of fact, that phrase actually finds its origin in Jesus Christ himself. In John chapter 17, Jesus is praying for his disciples after he's given them this lesson, or he's been teaching them. Maybe even you could look at it as a series of small lessons we know as the farewell discourse found in John chapter 14 through 17. He ends his lesson in prayer. Listen to this one line from the beginning of that prayer. He's praying to God the Father, and he says, "This is eternal life, to know you, the only true God, and Jesus Christ whom you sent." Now, I want to focus in on the phrase "to know." The original Greek word is pronounced gnosko, and it does have this meaning of to know, to have knowledge, or to have some feeling. But it's also this Jewish idiom for sexual intercourse. Now, you might be asking, what's an idiom? An idiom is something, let's just say, for instance, that you are criticizing me maybe, or giving me harassing me on this little live feed, and you're sending me notes, and I might type back at you and say, why don't you get off my back? That's an idiom. You're not actually on my back, but we all know that that means, for me, I'm saying, hey, why don't you let me alone? So that's the idea of an idiom. And so whenever you hear it, you know it doesn't mean what it says, but it means something else to you. And for the Jews of that time, when they heard gnosko, they would know, and they would think about sexual intercourse. Well, what happens? I mean, obviously, Jesus isn't saying that there's sexual intercourse with God. No, of course not. But what he's saying is what happens in the act of sexual intercourse is two people form a deep connection, a bond like no other. It's a powerful thing. It's almost like when two people have intercourse, they become almost like one. Wow, what a thought! That faith or eternal life is to know, to become intimate, deeply connected with Jesus Christ and God the Father. What a thought! And that's Jesus' thought, not Mildred Banks Winecoop's thought. Jesus thought that originally, and he prayed that. And so Jesus is teaching, and then he prays. And I don't know. I assume that Jesus probably operated like this. I know when I preach, and then I pray after the message, I'm praying that people will take what I've just taught them, and they will take that and they'll be able to apply it to their lives, and that it'll mold and shape who they are. And so if in fact Jesus is praying in that line of thought, then everything that comes before this prayer and the farewell discourse is all about how to know Jesus Christ on a deep, intimate level. And so I'm going to invite you to join me. I also want to speak a bit about the disciples are in a time much like we find ourselves in now. They're about to experience an upheaval of their lives. Jesus is crucified, and then he ascends to heaven, and they are really turned upside down. They're in a time of unknown, very similar to the time that we are in now in this period of life. And so I want to draw that little bit of a parallel as well. And in times like these, our personal relationship with Jesus Christ is even more important. So I just want to submit to you today, personal relation or being a Christian, being a follower of Christ, having faith is not about following rules. It's about a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. So join me tomorrow to learn more from the farewell discourses, what Jesus taught his disciples about personal relationship with him and the Father. Join me tomorrow. We'll see you then. Thank you for watching today. Till tomorrow.